Disclaimer: this video is of humorous nature only. The author does not seek to insult or humiliate anyone. The video may contain profanity. People under the age of 16 should refrain from watching this video. Story 1. You have to keep your crap together and show up for work every day, and carry on your responsibilities even if you're going through the lowest point of your life. Work carries on even through heartbreak, grief, mourning, depression. It's relentless, and I just never even thought of that being an issue when I was younger. That's why I try to be kind to people. You never know what's going on behind the scenes or what they're fighting to get through today. Story 2. There will come a point in your life which will be different for everyone. For some, it may be before adulthood. For others, it could be quite late in life. But it's the day you realize that there is no one to bail you out anymore. Get stranded somewhere? No one is coming to get you. Fall on hard times? No one is going to sling you any cash. Find yourself on the streets? There's no childhood home to go back to. Marriage collapse? There's nobody's shoulder to cry on. For me, that happened around the age of 43, when I became the carer for the only 2 family members I had left. That's the point I realized that I am now truly 100% my own responsibility. Story 3. Not all your friends are friends for life. You might not even talk anymore to your now besties. To hang out with your friends once, you'll have to plan weeks in advance. Clubs that are in now look like kindergartens. You have responsibilities, like lots of them. You have to find a balance between working, more money, and more time for yourself. You have less patience for crap. Story 4. Adulthood is a wonderful combination of freedom and obligation. On the one hand, if you want to make bacon as part of every meal, you can. You're an adult. On the other, you have to check your overall health, and you might discover that eating bacon for every meal might be harmful to you. It's the same in other areas. If you want to go to Walt Disney World, you can, but you have to pay for it. Either you save up for it, or you charge it and then pay off the credit card later. You can't escape that side of things. You might also decide to strip off all your clothes and go streaking in town, but you'd probably figure out that you'd get arrested for that. You might decide to drive a car even if you don't have a license or insurance, but such an action is illegal, so you'd be in trouble if you got pulled over by the police. You might get a job that makes you a lot of money, but the government is going to want their share of it, so you have to pay taxes. There's a reason why you sometimes hear that high school is kind of the peak of freedom, for some youth anyway. You often have discretion in spending money on things, like music, books, games. Get choice over what you wear and how you look. But you don't have to pay rent. The money you get might be an allowance rather than from a job. You don't have to pay for groceries, etc. You generally are obliged to go to school and do some chores, though. Not a bad deal in retrospect. Story 5. You really are on your own. Friends will come and go. If you get married, your spouse can die or leave you. Once your parents are gone, it can feel incredibly lonely. You must find the ways in which you like being alone and spending time with yourself, as you will be with you more than anyone else will. And in times when friends and family aren't there for you, it can be depressing unless you learn how to enjoy doing things alone. I don't say all this to be morose. I actually love being alone and am completely fulfilled being alone, and that's why I feel now I can give well to others as a friend, family member, etc. But I spent a lot of my 20s desperate for other company and made bad choices as a result. Get a pet for companionship and learn to love being alone with the pet and pursuing the hobbies and activities you love because you love them. Develop your whole self if you want to be a great friend, partner, spouse, parent. Story 6. It's not so much a sad reality, but a reality. You have to play the game and play the hand you're dealt, most of the time. Yeah, it would be awesome if the world was a utopia or if the government worked for us or whatever. But that's not the case, and you are stuck living in this reality, in this system. That doesn't mean you shouldn't advocate for change or vote for your ideals. It means that there are ways to play the game and get ahead. You just have to analyze the game, figure out a strategy, and then execute the strategy. I'll give you an example. Let's say you just graduated college with an education degree and are teaching for $40K per year in a middle America state, and you're unhappy with your compensation. First, analyze your situation. You're unhappy with your compensation and you have the ability to work pretty much anywhere. Second, develop a strategy. Find the highest paying districts in the country, decide which ones would be acceptable to teach in, and then get awesome at teaching over the next year or so before you apply to the new district. Third, execute the strategy. Take as many professional development courses as you can. Write curriculum over the summer. Get another certification if you can, then apply to the new district and profit. Where to start? I guess the biggest thing that young people should be prepared for is just how much life sucks most of the time. The vast majority of your waking hours will be spent at work, which for most people will mean spending the best part of almost every day doing something you don't care about. Everything is absurdly expensive, to the point where very few young people are able to afford to live on their own. Many will be forced to live with their parents well past the point that they expected to do so. Once you are out of childhood, no one cares about your well-being, especially if you are a single man. Women might do slightly better on that score, but they also have to contend with the inherent dangers of being a woman in a patriarchal world. If you are a man, you are not supposed to have any feelings besides steely resolve, anger, and horny. If you are a woman, you are supposed to want nothing more than to be a wife and mother. Any deviation from these paths will be met with negative judgment from society. Money is everything. Don't let anyone tell you different. Your happiness will be directly proportional to how much money you have. And no matter how hard you work, some folks will never have enough. Sadly, the single most accurate predictor of success in the United States is the zip code into which you were born. Story 9. There are a lot of opportunities that are no longer available as you get older. I had all kinds of lofty dreams as a kid, and at that time could have actually pursued them. Now that I'm in my 30s, I have to accept the fact that I'll never be an astronaut or go into space. I'll never be a famous actor, a life-saving doctor, etc. Most of those dreams were unrealistic, but they were possible. Almost all of them are either next to impossible now or just straight up impossible. I'm not really upset about it, but it made me think of all the things that I'll never be able to do now, and the list gets bigger and bigger with each passing year. If you want to follow your dreams, do it while you're young. Once you're an adult and sort of locked into working your career so you can pay your bills and stay afloat, it makes it a lot more difficult to pursue other things. Story 10. Your crafty childhood trauma isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to deal with it as an adult. I've seen both sides of this coin. The people who dealt with it turned out to be relatively happy people who feel they are leading successful lives. The ones who didn't aren't. Get some post-secondary training even if a traditional college isn't right for you. Trade schools are faster, cheaper, and give you a skill set designed to help you be extremely employable. Yes, you will have to still work hard no matter what, but having skills matters. Be okay with the fact that you're going to have to work hard. Everyone does. The boomers did, Gen X did, millennials did. Most of us didn't have anything handed to us. Things are crafty and hard right now, but you'll be okay. Starting out isn't easy for anyone, ever, and that's okay. You aren't alone in that. Story 11. Stuff costs money. Often a lot of money. If your parents are telling you not to turn the heat up too much in winter, or the cold up too much in summer, or not waste food, or have 5 streaming services at once, or don't buy you the new PS5 you want, or anything that sounds lame like that, it's probably due to costs. Bills add up fast. Accommodation, car maintenance, home maintenance, etc. Things break all the time. Entertainment costs money. Money, money, money. Also, a lot of the lectures might not seem so important. Brushing teeth, eating healthy, sleeping enough, etc. But it's true, you really do need to look after your body for longevity. The other reality is just how much things change, whether you want them to or not. Things get worse all the time. People move away. People you think are your friend might not be in 5 years. You can do everything right and still be screwed. Story 12. Concerning your body and health, the sins of the past will come to haunt you. One day you wake up, take a look in the mirror and at your graying hair and think, "Damn, when did I get so fat?" Or, "Damn, when did I start to get used to my joints hurting so much?" Or, "Damn, I sure wish I took better care of my teeth earlier." And then you realize that some of the things that you thought you would take care of or concern yourself with later, you missed the window of opportunity to do that. Listen carefully. When you start to consider everyday movements carefully, like in a, "Do I really feel like kneeling down to pick this up right now? Is it worth the effort pain?" That's when you are fast approaching the point of no return. If you want to change something about your fitness, start now. Not next year, not tomorrow. Right then and there. Story 13. All the psychological disabilities you think you have, everyone has, and your trauma isn't special and isn't the reason you fail. When you become an adult, you quickly realize every single person you meet has a traumatic past. The successful ones and the unsuccessful ones, meaning your trauma isn't an excuse. The successful people will tell you they are successful in spite on their trauma, or that it fueled them. Also, if you think you have some mental disability making you fail, everyone has something and it is the same way. Everyone you talk to will tell you they have OCD, AD, depression, anxiety, etc., etc. Or has been attacked for being gay or straight, black or white, Republican or Democrat, all of it. We have all faced discrimination by the time you're an adult, haha. You realize that when you were in high school, those things made you stand out and got you sympathy? Well, not anymore. Story 14. Hey op, 48-year-old married father of 2 in the UK here. Some things to prepare yourself for. Life and work, sadly, isn't a meritocracy. No matter what career you get into, it's always who you know, not what you know. No one is coming to save you. Make sure you own your finances, your physical fitness, and your mental health. If you want to be in a relationship with a quality person, they will expect the same. It's highly likely that you will be an average person who will live an average life, and that a lot of your dreams won't come to fruition. Outstanding people are a rare breed, and just thinking you are doesn't cut it. But life is a strange, interesting, stimulating ride that you will likely find a way of enjoying and making the most of. Story 15. Everything has a cost, absolutely everything. Even a job, they will take away taxes. You will have to pay your commute, your food. Even if there is a canteen, you will have to pay a fee for it. You want to sleep and laze around all day? Sure, but that costs a rent, the bed, the internet, the light you just want to go to the park, lay on the grass. That is free, right? Wrong. It will cost you. Taxes on the maintenance of said park. Did you use the public transport? Cost? Did you walk? That's free, right? Wrong. Are you wearing shoes for walking? That has a cost. Are you wearing clothes? Pay, and you see where I am going with this. Everything costs. So be smart with money. Story 16. Sometimes getting up out of a chair or out of the bed, you'll just tweak your back, knee, neck, ankle for like no reason, but it will hurt for the next week. You're going to just randomly become allergic to some things. All of a sudden, you're just not going to be able to deal with being really hot or really cold for the rest of your life. Staying at home and doing nothing sounds so much better than going out to a party, club, hanging out with friends, etc. You're exhausted all the time, never been depressed? Well, duck you, here's some depression. Story 17. You will drift apart from your forever friends from high school and college for multiple reasons. Y'all drift apart due to life and work. Y'all change as people and really aren't that compatible. Or you change as a person, and they don't. I'm 42, and I still have some great friends from back then, but there's also others I've drifted from or think poorly of. The real and professional world doesn't care about your mental health. They only care if you're producing. They don't care if something gives you anxiety. Your parents and relatives will get old, feeble, and pass. Having to parent your parents is a massive shock to many PPL. Story 18. Sometimes the worst part of getting old is not the responsibility or bum knees, but the fact that you still haven't become the person you wish you could be. I would suggest getting into therapy, solidifying your hobbies, and considering the characteristics you want to display for the rest of your life and working toward acting upon them. Story 19. There is nothing about being adult that would make me want to go back to being a powerless child. If there is a sad reality, it is the fact you will come to learn all your dreams aren't going to come true. Nobody gets everything they want out of life. Compromises and disappointments are all a part of it. You have more freedoms as an adult, but you also have more responsibilities. Story 20. The older you get, the more set in stone your life path gets. When you're young, you have so many options, so much potential, and as you get older, you just have fewer. Like, obviously, if you choose to go into banking and you decide at 40 that actually you want to become a pianist instead, or whatever, you can do that, but it is not easy. I love my life, and I don't regret the choices I've made that got me here, the time I spent doing the things I've done. But I do miss that feeling of my life could be anything. Story 21. One day you turn around and your parents' older family, older mentors will have grown old. There doesn't seem like enough time in the day to keep up with them and ask those burning questions, but do it. Call them and visit as often as you can. Let them fill you up with all the life knowledge you can contain, because all too soon you will pick up your phone to dial their number to ask them a question. Story 22. Find ways to get pleasure and enjoyment out of work, because most of life is work, and you can either bitch and moan about that or just put your head down and get on with it and discover the pleasures and rewards of work. Also, Monday morning always comes, and by and large the world doesn't care what happened last weekend or what shape you're in by Monday morning. The work's going to show up regardless of whether or not you show up to do it. Accept this and plan around it. Story 23. Something young people should be prepared for as they transition into adulthood is the realization that the concept of having it all figured out is a myth. Many of us enter adulthood with high expectations and ambitious goals, only to find that life is often unpredictable and full of unexpected challenges. It's important to embrace the journey, learn from setbacks, and understand that it's okay not to have all the answers right away. The key is resilience and adaptability in the face of life's curveballs. Story 24. No one really cares about you. No one is checking in to make sure that you're doing okay eating, getting outside, socializing, etc. I often go several days to weeks without interacting with another human, in person or via call text. After I moved out of state on my own, I became invisible. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. The isolation and loneliness I felt as a teenager can't even compare to the way I feel now. Story 25. That once you get out of school, work is every day. Monday to Friday all day, all of the year. You might get a few weeks of vacation, but otherwise there are no breaks like you are used to from kindergarten through college. When you're in school, there's an end to a semester or school year. You always get at least a week or two off for Christmas, then spring break, and of course several months off for summer. But once you start your adult working life, that'll never happen again. Story 26. Finances do not work like in computer games. You don't just gain money until you can afford something, then earn that money back. There are expenses that are almost equal to your income. It may take months or years to save up money for what you want, only to spend it all on an emergency. If you're careful and lucky, you won't have credit card debt hanging over you all the time. Story 27. 1. Not everyone is your friend, and sometimes your friends aren't your friends. 2. There are people out there that want to and will harm you. 3. Sometimes you just outgrow people. 4. You are mortal, so sit down sometimes. 5. Taxes. That's all I need to say. 6. Yes, your guardian can disrespect you too. 7. But we're family. Don't mean shh if you're functioning like my enemy. Sad, but all truths I had to learn fast. Story 28. Expectations of happiness. You grow up expecting that your happiness will continually increase. but I think the way you perceive things peaks in high school, early adulthood, unless you work at it, i.e., you didn't necessarily peak in high school, you just didn't adjust your perception to adult life, ejaculate, or come, semen stances. Then you set your expectations of adulthood all wrong. There are new freedoms, but they come with new responsibilities. It can be exciting or depressing depending on how you frame it. Story 29. When you're a kid, your entertainment is planned for you. When you're a 20-something, all entertainment is crafted around you. When you're an adult, you need to make your own. It becomes very easy to slip into a boredom gyre where you cycle through doing things once or twice and then just never again. Doing things other than sitting indoors requires energy that you need to find inside of yourself. Story 30. Anyone can make the decision that your relationship with them is going to change forever, and nothing you can do or say will stop it. Best of friends 1 week, then a month later. Radio silence. You will never know what you did, but will suddenly have to learn to move on. Could be a friend, could be family, could be because of a death or some irreconcilable difference. Real or mistaken. But either way, it's gone forever. Story 31. Your 20s are full of mistakes and everyone trying to figure life out. My friends and I barely had time to hang out together once out of college. Now that we are quickly entering our 30s, life is calming down and we are finding time. Those few years, though, are rough and can be lonely. You need to figure out a way to talk to them, even if just for a few hours a week. Story 32. Some things are not preventable, and a lot of them will not be your fault, but you're still going to be held responsible and hold the burden of fixing problems you did not create. A big part of being good at solving problems, and not having as many, is being good at recognizing and addressing them before they become problems. Ignoring things until it is too late becomes much more problematic than addressing it early on. Story 33. The older you get, the more people struggle to find new friends. So it is worth maintaining existing friendships with respect and don't take them for granted. Saying that, at the same time, most school relationships fall apart, and true friends are found outside of school or after school. However, just be friendly and value your friends and find out how this friendship thing works. The earlier the better. Story 34. You're never going to get ahead on your to-do list. There's always something that needs doing. My lawnmower needs a tune-up. I gotta sweep my garage. I gotta vacuum my car. Gotta power wash the siding of my house. A lot of things end up requiring more immediate action, so the things you just don't have time for end up being shifted further and further down the list. Story 35. Proximity, ejaculate, or come. Semen-stantial relationships. You can live with someone or work with someone for years, and the moment you move out or get a new job, you may never hear from them again. When you're older, you get to choose your relationships and circle. So be prepared to not be included in a few of them. You were only relevant because of ejaculate or come. Semen stances outside of their immediate control. Story 36. When you're younger, you are taught which jobs are prestigious and which ones are claimed as lower-end jobs. When you're an adult, you'll realize that some jobs are a better fit for you than others. Not everyone is meant to be a doctor, lawyer, astronaut, or what have you. Sometimes it's those lower-end jobs that can surprise you. Story 37. Almost nothing you see on the internet is real. And I don't mean if you look up the equation for Pythagorean theorem, it's wrong. I mean socially. If someone is posting something on the internet, it's because they meticulously chose the situations they wanted you to see. Everyone struggles, so don't let these systematic posts make you think that your life means less than anyone else's. Story 38. It is soul-crushing in every imaginable way to get older and realize how much bullcrap people feed each other about life. Most people cannot deal with objective reality, so they project, deflect, doublespeak, and get angry whenever someone points out the flaws in their thinking. As a problem solver by nature, I find it miserable. Story 39. Was just at a graduation, and the speaker wanted to emphasize the accomplishments and achievements of the students in order to make those students feel a sense of pride for such things and reaching this milestone. After such a rite of passage, Because what it truly is. No one really cares what you did in high school or college. Story 40. It's no matter how hard you try or how deserving you are, things won't always work out the way you hoped. It's important for young people to understand that failure and disappointment are natural parts of life, but they don't define your worth or potential. Learning to cope with setbacks and persevere through challenges is a crucial skill for navigating adulthood. Story 41. You are responsible for yourself and the benefits or consequences of your own actions. Bad financial decisions? On you. Good choice changing major in school? Good for you. All these kinds of things are basically just you. And if you, like me, couldn't wait to grow up and make your own choices, it's something of a shock. Story 42. Honestly, I hope the young people out there never wish that it would be better if you were older. No. As you older, you always want to get younger and go that stress-free days doing nothing. And importantly, never rely on others, which makes us dependent. People have enough on their own plates. Also learn how to save up. Story 43. As you get older, you lose more and more people who care about you, like you know you enough to help you. Parents have died, friends gone, spouses divorced. You really only have yourself to depend on. Unless you are confident and comfortable with yourself and being by yourself, your senior years might be a lonely, miserable hell. Story 44. It is incredibly lonely and so hard to make friends. As a young person, you're generally around peers through school or after-school activities. As an adult, you might be around coworkers, sure, but mixing work and home is usually a bad idea. So you've got to put in so much more effort to maintain friendships. Story 45. Making plans with close friends will get more challenging over time. Between kids moving to the suburbs, careers, etc., the ability to just spontaneously link up and do fun things will become harder and harder. Eventually, carving out plans a month plus in advance will be the only way to make things happen. Story 46. Narschai, financial pressure bills and debt. Adults have to manage various bills and often face student loans, mortgages, and credit card debt. Balancing income with these expenses can be stressful. Cost of living. The rising cost of living can make it difficult to save money or achieve financial stability. Thank you all for watching. Watch even more great stories on my channel.